Abacha Balewa. He was the very first and only prime minister, and in conjunction with Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was our president, was the very first president. Look at him, that's Abacha Balewa. Between 1960 and 1966, he was actually the head of government, being the prime minister. And what happened? In 1966, Army took over power in Nigeria for the very first time. And this man called Abacha Balewa was a victim. He was assassinated in a coup that was spearheaded by Major Kaduna Emeka Nsogo in conjunction with Tife Joanna. In fact, that was when he died. When he did, the man who became our head of state was none other than General Aguiyi-Ironsi. Aguiyi-Ironsi took over power that same 1966. He came up with what he called the unitary system of government. A system whereby so much power was vested at the center. Whatever he said at the center was binding on all the regional governments. This policy did not go down well with the elites. And what the after effect was subsequent assassination. General Aguiyi-Ironsi was assassinated. And the man who took over power was General Yakubu Gowon. In July 1967, he took over power. And almost immediately, there was civil war. Between 1967 and 1970, millions of Nigerians died in that war between what they call the federal government of Nigeria and the Biafran Republic. Millions of Nigerians died in that war. At the end, in 1970, when the war ended, General Yakubu Gowon declared no winner, no vanquish. And his slogan there was, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. As a way of also consolidating on the Nigerian project, General Yakubu Gowon continued to lead Nigeria until 1975, when he traveled to Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, where they had Organization of African Unity meeting. Before he returned, there was a coup that ousted him. And the man who took over power in 1975 was General Murtala Mohammed. General Murtala Mohammed became our head of state, our military head of state. Unfortunately, on the 13th February 1976, on his way to his office at Dodam Barracks, he met his Waterloo. And the man who spearheaded that coup was Lieutenant Colonel Buka Suka Dinka. Dinka opened fire on him, and the head of state died, swimming his own pool of blood. And immediately, the man who was the Chief of Staff Supreme Headquarters, Lieutenant General Olusegun Obasanjo, took over power. General Olusegun Obasanjo became our head of state. On the 1st of October 1979, he honorably handed over to Alhaji Shehu Shagari, who, although he could not meet up with the thought of 19 states then, Obasanjo went on ahead to swear him in. He became our second republic president. He fought against the likes of, political-wise, he fought against the likes of these heavyweights like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was the flag bearer to the Nigerian People's Party, NPP, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who was the flag bearer of UPN, United Party of Nigeria, Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim, the Great Nigerian People's Party, and Malam Aminu Kano, PRP, People's Redemption Party. All of them were, whether legally or illegally, they all bowed down to the political superiority of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. He contested, he won for another tenure, but unfortunately, on the 31st of December, 1983, Nigerians woke up to listen to Masha music on radio. A voice came, and we heard it so clearly. My fellow countrymen, it has dawned on us that over the years, our politicians have not done well. So much money has been so embezzled. And henceforth, our Air Force and Sea Force are hereby closed. All political appointees are hereby banned. Every political activity is banned. And we always hear the man signing off. He will say, I am Sani Abacha. This is a false in our minds of innocence. We thought he was going to be our head of state, but I was not to be. This man bounced to Rekoni. We're talking about General Muhammadu Buhari. He became our head of state. Why Ibrahim Babangida was the army chief of staff under him. But you see, he came up with war against indiscipline. That was highly orchestrated by his second in command, the chief of staff, supreme headquarters, then Brigadier Tunde Idiagon. Everyone knew that the mark of war against indiscipline was actually engraved on his crown. May his soul rest in peace. Unfortunately, when Tunde Idiagon, his second in command, traveled to Mecca, before he returned, this man took over power. And then he was put in house arrest. And it was later he said it with his own mouth that he served jail time here in Benin. Talking about Muhammadu Buhari served jail time here in Benin when IBB was in power. He said it with his own mouth. He said it. Okay. He said Oko. Yeah. He was in Oko prison here. Buhari was in Oko prison. And so when this man took over power, a lot of people, some people saw him as Messiah who had come to rescue Nigeria. But unfortunately, he began to enjoy all the flamboyance of office. He began to eat all the cake. He began to, in fact, in his time, well, I'm entitled to my own opinion, but bookmakers have said that corruption heightened. It was a situation of scratch my back, I scratch your back. Don't eat more than me. I'm the head of state, so be careful how you eat, but eat on chop. It's Nigerian money, our money. We constructed our oil here took oil from south here and dug big holes from here down to Kaduna, where the station, that's refinery, Kaduna refinery. We don't have oil there. But at the same, in 1990, we thought he was going to bring us back to democracy, but that was not it. He set up political parties such as PDM, that was headed by Yaradua, Shehu Yaradua. Unfortunately, he proscribed those political parties, and we went to 0-1. The following year, 1991, he came up with NRC and SDP. We remember Abiola for SDP and Tofa for Pasha Tofa for NRC. The election was keenly contested, but against all odds, when he thought being a non-national Tofa would have given him would have had landslide victory. And that was the reason, one of the reasons why he came up with what they call option 4. Option A4. It was open ballot system. You were not to hold any card. So there was no card to turn over. There was no boss to steal. It was so open. He was the one who brought it. With the mindset that MK Abiola had so much money to play around. If it was secret ballot, he would secretly overturn the election. He was so sure that being a northern Atofa would win. But God being, let God be God. So everybody queued behind MK Abiola. The lines of Abiola could not be. In fact, they could extend from here to Nairobi and from Cape to Cairo. And their faces became small. When once we began to announce the elections, and they were all falling in favor of going in favor of MK Abiola, it was being the worst matter, meaning Mutumu Panza. Stop it! And once we had to stop it compulsory. But we all knew that MK Abiola won that election. And then, before we knew, we went on air, and suddenly he annulled June 12 election. He annulled it. After the annulment, Nigerians cried blue murder. No, students went on rampage all over the country. Yes. And human rights activists, they were on their feet. Every one of them fought assiduously for the realization of true democracy.
Yes.
People like Chief John Odigel, people like Alhaji Ahmed Bola Tinubu, people like Akiri Ande, people like Professor Wole Soyinka, they were all flown into exile because they fought for June 12th. They were compulsorily forced into exile. Wole Soyinka, Gani Fahimi, may so rest in peace. All these were human rights activists that were on hand. In fact, they all fought. And we fought as well because then we were in the university. We also wrote on tar road, IBB must go. When the intensity of the struggle became unbearable for him, there was the dead need to step aside. And he brought in a Yoruba man called Chief Ernest Shonekan, thinking he could appease the Yorubas. But behind the curtain, there was one man that was always winking his eyes and saying, Baba, if you want to live long and see your children, you must do something and live here. This is my position. And Baba, who didn't have gun to fight, Baba, who never was trained to struggle for anything, he cleverly and diligently wrote resignation and submitted it. And the man who came from behind the curtain to assume office, unannounced, unelected, unappointed, was General Sani Abacha. He sat down there so gorgeously, so confidently, and then some writers, as a way of making it soft, of encouraging Nigerians, they attributed democracy to him. They said they trusted that the man would hand over to MK Abiola. At that time, MK Abiola was in prison. They were forced to change their minds. When the same Abacha began to perpetuate himself, before we know what was happening, there was this 2 million man march in favor of Sani Abacha becoming life president. And that was when they said, we didn't know this one. We didn't plan it this way. And the Baba said, if you look, he told everybody, shut up. If you talk, I blow off your head. It was that period. Even in second in command, because he spoke in favor of June 12th, you know what happened to him? Oladipo, he was arrested. They bottled, in fact, they presented a concocted video clip where he was talking about overthrowing Abacha's government. The man was arrested and put in prison. Because of the position of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, he was also arrested. Yaradua was arrested. So many of those people were arrested. Nigeria boy. The country, it was like sitting on a keg of gunpowder. But you know what happened? You know what happened? One Monday morning, the very Monday morning that he was supposed to sign the death warrant of all the prisoners, Nigerians, we had the news that the man called Sani Abacha died in his sleep and he didn't wake up. Nigerians were supposed to be in money mood, but it was not so. All over the nation, there was parties. Parties were declared everywhere. And people jumped up. Some made acrobatic displays, thanking God for the death of Sani Abacha.
According to speculation, people said that he was poisoned in the jail.
Yes. Yes, that was speculation. But that is not as important as his death. What was important was that when Abacha died, then human rights abuse died. Democracy woke up when somebody died. And so to date, we are still celebrating the death of Sani Abacha. Why? Because if he was still alive, he would have been our life president. And anyone who opposed him could get shot.
You think he would have ruled forever?
That was what he, not forever, until death.
Yes, that's what that's what I meant.
Until death, actually. Until death, because that was what he wanted to do. He had squads everywhere. Sani Abacha, when he eventually died, the man who took over power was Abdul Salam Abubakar. That one had land. So he was in a hurry to leave office. And on the 29th of May, that's my birthday, 1999, he cleverly handed over to the winner, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who became our president. Obasanjo has always been a pioneer of democracy. Because in 1979, 1st of October 1979, he handed over. Then, 2007, he handed over again. This time to Yaradua. And when Yaradua died in office, he handed over to the man who took over was Goodluck Jonathan. Can you see? And today our president is Muhammadu Buhari. May God give him the wisdom to lead us well.
Obasanjo is the godfather of democracy in Nigeria.
No, pioneer.
I think you say Godfather.
Yes.
Whether they say godfather or the pioneer or the patron, it is the same thing. We cannot deny that fact at all. Obasanjo has always been in positive history of Nigeria. Whether you like his face or you don't like his face, but that is the reality.